Hello and welcome to Tuesday News Day, your #1 resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. We may have just gotten the V28 update for Quest and Quest 2, but V29 is already on its way. A new, cheap, open source full body tracking method is on its way for all users, and a major Oculus and Facebook Reality Labs executive just left Facebook. We got that and so much more. Let's just get right into the news. Let's start off this week with an interesting article that I came across. Have you ever put on your headset, launched your favorite VR game, and a couple hours pass by, but it only feels like a few minutes? Well, you're not the only one. This article on Futurism, titled "You Perceive Time Differently in Virtual Reality," scientists say, mentions that there seems to be some pretty serious discrepancies between how long people spend in VR and how long they think they spent in VR. For example, when the researchers were completing a puzzle in VR, they were told to stop playing when they believed they had reached 5 minutes of play. Well, on average, they all stopped 72.6 seconds after that 5-minute mark. That means that they were all playing for 20% longer than they actually thought they were. This is what the researchers call time compression, where time is actually going by faster than what we think. Now, there are all sorts of theories as to why we do this, one of them being, quote, "There are theories that we may rely on our heartbeat and other bodily rhythms to help our brain track the passage of time. So, if you have a less vivid sense of your body in virtual reality, you might be missing the pulses of this timekeeping mechanism," end quote. And in case you're asking, well, isn't this the same for all gaming or entertainment in general? I mean, I know sometimes an Overwatch match feels like it was over in 15 minutes, but actually 30 went by. So is this really only a phenomenon in VR? Well, they addressed that exact question here. Quote, "Participants were asked to play the game in both VR and on a conventional screen, one after the other, with the order being picked at random. Time compression only occurred for those playing the game in VR first," end quote. So, interesting. Maybe the next time you have work or school and you only have 30 minutes to play in VR, maybe you should set an alarm. You might just end up playing for a solid 20 to 30% longer than you expect, and there's no one to really blame except for biology. So before we talk about all the new features on the V29 Quest and Quest 2 update, let's talk about this Facebook executive leaving. Hugo Barra has been at Facebook leading the Oculus team at one point, but most recently has led Facebook Reality Labs' AR and VR partner ecosystem. He had a decently long run at the company, first joining the team directly off of Mark Zuckerberg's recommendation 5 years ago. Well, he announced that he will be officially leaving Facebook Reality Labs. Unlike some previous departures from Facebook Reality Labs and Oculus, there doesn't seem to be any bad blood here, but it's hard not to take note when someone very influential leaves the company. Barra was crucial to the development of the Oculus Go, Quest, and Quest 2, and had a big hand in the recent Facebook partnership with Ray-Ban to create AR smart glasses. So it's pretty safe to say that his departure will have some effect on the company. We just don't know if that will be positive or negative or not matter at all. According to Barra, he's actually leaving because the pandemic has inspired him to enter the healthcare technology space, to make as much of a change there as he's made for the virtual reality industry. Farewell and absolute best wishes. But now let's get on to these brand new Quest and Quest 2 updates coming soon. Yeah, we may have just gotten V28 officially about a week ago, and that update was massive, bringing AirLink and more, but V29 is right around the corner and coming sooner than you'd even think. And yeah, it's true, this update isn't quite as earth-shattering as the previous, which around the community, besides a few bugs, V28 has by far been one of the biggest updates ever. However, V29 does bring a ton of really great quality of life updates and some new functionality. Although I have a feeling that some of these may be a little divisive. Starting off, now you can use the built-in Quest microphone while casting footage, whether that's streaming to the internet or recording, which is a great content creation tool for the future, and I honestly don't know why we didn't have it in the first place. But we have it now. Next is a little more exciting. There's this app called Live that you may have heard of before, and it basically allows you to inject your body into a game using a camera and some fancy software work. Well, Facebook has pretty much taken that exact idea and implemented it as a standard feature for the Quest moving forward. With this new feature called Live Overlay, you can just set your phone down with the Oculus app with the camera pointed at you, and your actual body appears in the game. This can then be directly casted or recorded, making VR parties a little fun and making mixed reality content a whole lot easier with the Quest. Next is the more divisive part. Facebook has reworked the dashboard quite a bit. bit, and it's very iOS looking. Now, I think iOS looks pretty clean to be honest, but this isn't iOS, and I'm not too sure about this new UI. Doesn't really seem like a step forward for me, kind of like a sidestep, and actually some of the apps like settings take longer to get to than before, but it may just take getting used to. Who knows, it might grow on me. Another huge thing are phone notifications while in VR. If you're an iOS user, pretty soon you'll be able to receive text and phone notifications while within your VR headset, and this is something I've wanted for a long time. This is only for iOS though. Android support is supposedly coming soon. Next up is a weird update that makes me a little uncomfortable. Facebook has said straight up that ads are coming to the Oculus App Store for mobile for VR games. Now, of course, it's not like you'll be getting GamerSupps ads next to Beat Saber, but instead, developers can pay Facebook extra money to advertise their game within the app. Think of it as the top sponsored app in Apple's App Store. I suppose this is good on paper, more people can see the game, but that's only if developers pay Facebook more money to advertise their game. I don't know, Chief, this one just makes me feel weird. I don't want the Oculus Store to turn into a situation like I can only play the games made by the highest bidder, if that makes sense. This was meant to increase discoverability of smaller VR games, but I worry it'll affect the App Store in unforeseen ways and likely in the opposite. Popular games that are already at the top of the App Store in every way make more revenue as is, thus have more money for advertisements. And I imagine they'll just stay at the top, making it even harder for newer games and smaller developers to be seen since they don't have the budget of a successful studio. This kinda just seems like a way to make more money from the store, just not from you, from the developers, and I'm not sure anyone really wins besides Facebook. But I guess I shouldn't expect anything more from a company that makes their money off of advertisements. But we'll see. But now it's time for a meme break! The VR people, you dropped your controller. Quest 2 users and Index users. This is pretty accurate. Although I love my knuckles, I've also caused cataclysmic damage from a 3-foot drop. Oh, the things I endure just to be able to flip someone off. And now, back to the news. Have you ever wanted to do full body tracking in VR Chat or Blade and Sorcery, but you just don't have the money or hardware to do a full base station tracked Vive tracker setup? I mean, if you have to buy base stations and 3 trackers just to do full body because you only have a Quest 2, you're talking about more than a $600 investment just to see your legs. Well, this may be changing very soon. We already know about a few other cheap full body tracking methods coming out, like Stonks, but a newcomer looks pretty promising. This is the Slime VR full body tracking setup. Full body without the need for wires, cameras, or base stations. This works by, quote, Slime VR uses absolute orientation sensors and a skeleton model with user-entered proportions and forward kinematics to put virtual Vive trackers on key points, end quote. My biggest interest here, though, is that the tracking quality actually looks really good in this video, and the trackers themselves are pretty small and light. However, most importantly, Slime VR is totally open source and are opening the possibility to just build your own, making it even cheaper. In fact, their firmware is just up there on GitHub right now that you could just download and do whatever you want with. I'm obviously a big believer in full body tracking and honestly can't imagine something like VR Chat without it sometimes. And I'm all down to support any project that makes full body tracking easier and cheaper for more people. So keep your eyes out in Slime VR. Looks cool and shows a lot of promise. On the more expensive yet precise Lighthouse-based side of full-body trackers, Tundra Labs announced months ago that they will be creating their own alternative to the Vive tracker that's better, cheaper, and smaller, and they've been selling those Tundra tracker bundles on Kickstarter to ship later this year. Well, the Kickstarter has been a massive success, nearly selling out of all tiers. I think this is a really great sign that people have been wanting to upgrade from Vive trackers that aren't made by HTC for a long time now, and Tundra Labs is really the first to do it for consumers. In case you didn't know as well, Tundra Labs is pretty much Valve's official SteamVR hardware development kit company. Valve will send you straight to Tundra Labs' website if you're ever interested in making SteamVR hardware, so these guys kinda know what they're doing regarding laser tracking. I am planning on doing a direct apples to apples comparison later this week between the Vive Tracker 2.0, 3.0, and Tundra Tracker to get an objective idea as to which is best. So if you're interested, make sure to hit that bell and subscribe so you're notified. But if you do still want to order from the Kickstarter, pretty much the only thing left are single trackers, so hop on it. Tundra has said that this shortage is due to the chip shortage and the company had to put an upper limit on how many they could sell. So if you're interested, either wait for the video or hop on the Kickstarter. But now it's time for question of the week. ask, from All the Best Video, why don't you just change the series to Wednesday Newsday? Well, it may seem like I'm constantly off of Tuesday for the series that literally has Tuesday in the title, but most of the news days are still on Tuesday. It's just been out of whack lately due to news and my own personal life and things happening on Tuesdays when I'd normally post a video, making me push it back a day. I am considering changing up TN just a little bit soon, but name likely won't be it. If you do have suggestions, please let me know. And that's question of the week. Don't forget to leave your own below. I may just answer yours next. I will be streaming after this video on Twitch, so stop on by. I'd love to see you there. Also, join up in my Discord for one of the coolest VR communities out there. I will be having a Patreon exclusive meetup in VR chat this Friday, music, dancing, good talks, and more, but I wanted to say thank you to all of my current Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas, like Alexander, Atomally, Benji, Biz, CPCJ79, Debonair Fab, Destroyer Biscuit, Vertrap, Fusion Oak, HGG Randon, It's Lumi, John, KR, Lucid VR, Mud King, Ronzarelli, Skirt Cobain, That Brock Guy, Very Evil Shadow, and Zale. I couldn't do any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.